decisions like this typically, I would assume, get run by also the administration,
Yeah.
particularly fleet manager.
Yeah.
And I'm curious as to sort of what you heard from that side of the house.
Well, it's interesting because it worked out very well for us. However, for our fleet department, if they were to do the maintenance work or all the work on the Nissan LEAF, they would have to acquire special equipment.
Right.
And so if someone's looking to start a fleet or work with a fleet, they need to ensure that they have the facilities and the special training and the certifications that accompany the needs of these vehicles. We're fortunate. We have Bellevue Nissan here in town.
Right.
They have all the service facilities, so we'll just send it to them and they will take care of it.
Yeah, well,
most of that will likely be under warranty.
Right, yeah, they were the first dealer in this part of the state, at least that I'm aware of, that took on the Nissan LEAF program, which is obviously, again, I'm pleased to see that they did that. So the feedback from the fleet people were essentially, we're good with it as long as we don't have to do the maintenance.
Yeah, they can change tires
Right.
and they can, fix dents and do whatever, some of the minor maintenance,
Right.
fluids and things like that. But if there were something electrical that needed to be repaired, there's a lot of specialized equipment that is required for those. Also, they also have to have the specialized training
Right.
to work on them as well.
Right,
So
okay.
if you're not an authorized dealer, your warranty is probably void.
Right, yeah. So tell us a little bit about how these cars are being used and who's using them, and is there any sort of training? Because obviously, I'm sure most of the people here that work here are not familiar with, or haven't been familiar with an electric vehicle and those parameters of, you got to keep it plugged in, and you've got a certain range you can drive it, and those kinds of things. So tell me a little bit about the use of the vehicle.
Sure. I am one of the primary drivers for one. That's for administration, but that's really just here in case anyone needs to go somewhere.
Right.
We also use one for our permits and inspections, which I think is going to be a very good test. We're driving it now. We have one of the inspectors driving it in the cold. We're checking. He's always constantly looking at how many miles
Right.
he's got to go, and
Yeah.
we also have. We also plan on using it during the summer when peak construction time is about, and we're going to test its capabilities within the jurisdictional territory of Bellevue.
Right.
For me, I drive it to Omaha or meetings in West Sarpy County.
Right.
I drive it around Bellevue, and that is basically a checkout vehicle, if you want.
Right.
If you will, anyone can drive that one. So the nice thing is, part of the grant is that anytime we log or plug that vehicle in, the data is downloaded to the grant, so we don't have to record it.
Okay.
And the grant the research analyst
Right.
at UNL will provide us information if we need it on how many miles have been driven and,
Right.
and that type of thing.
So who's responsible for plugging the vehicle in, and typically
The driver.
where is it done?
It's a very the Nissan LEAF it's a great vehicle. It's very easy to drive.
Yeah.
In fact, I found myself the dashboard has indicators on it that help you drive more efficiently.
Right.
So if you're going downhill, you can take your foot off the gas,
Right.
and the green bar will go up.
Or the juice in this case.
It'll go green.
Right.
And I'm less concerned about getting there in a hurry, and I'm more concerned about getting there with using the fewest miles on my readout.
Yep.
So it's really a simple vehicle to drive. It's a very safe vehicle. It's got a backup camera on it. To plug it in, you use your ChargePoint card, you click it, it activates it, you plug it in, and that's it. It starts charging.
Yeah. People often have asked me, well, how long in fact, they always ask me, how long does it take to charge an electric vehicle? And there are two ways you can answer that. You can say, well, it depends on the amount of battery charge and the voltage available, yada, 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 right? Or you can just simply say, oh, it takes about 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Click.
Yeah, you could plug it in, yeah. Yeah.
And that's all
And it's
it
not
takes.
hard at all.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, when we first got our Nissan LEAFs, we did not have the charging station installed at that time, so we were charging 110s overnight.
Right, right.
So, and it worked fine.
So typically, how many miles, do you have a sense of how many miles you're putting on the vehicles, let's say in a week? Obviously, I would think the inspector probably a little bit more than,
I'm estimating for the inspector anywhere from 50 to 70 miles a day.
okay, which is well within the
Absolutely.
capabilities.
Yeah,
of it.
and when he comes back for lunch, he'll plug it in over the lunch hour and kick the charge up.
Right. Has he seen any kind, heard any kind of comments about, because obviously we've run into a really unprecedented cold snap here. I don't think any of us were expecting sub-zero, or nearly sub-zero temperatures. That obviously has an impact on the vehicle.
Right. I've experienced that, the heater takes a little bit longer than a combustion vehicle heater to heat up. However, they've compensated with that with seat warmers and electric steering wheel warmer.
Okay.
So that warms up within a matter of 15, 20 seconds.
Right.
The heater will drain the battery a little quicker, just like an air conditioner will. But what I like about the readout is the readout shows you how many miles you have on your charge driving at the current driving conditions. So when you turn your heater on, it may drop from 85 to 75.
Right.
And then, or if you're air conditioner or something like that. So.
Right, so it sort of gives you that immediate feedback then. So the vehicles, I assume then, are charged basically every night. Then they come back and they get plugged in. You have one? I think I remember hearing in the report there's one charger publicly available here.
Right.
So do you share that with the second vehicle, or what happens to that second vehicle?
Each station has 2 ports to charge.
Oh, okay. All right.
2 cords.
All right.
So we charge them both at the same time.
All right. What are your expectations for the vehicle in terms of operating costs? That's always, we know that you got a really good deal on these from what I remember in the report. So I think you probably set some ideas about how you want those to perform on a cost basis. So what were you thinking there?
Well, a reduced need for fuel at $3 a gallon, or however much we get it for in bulk. But that's what I like about it. Every time I drive the car, I think, I don't have to get gas.
Right.
Just come back and plug it in. From an expectation point, I find myself being, and I mentioned this previously, and I imagine the other drivers are as well, I find myself being more cognizant of my driving habits. Watching that bar, it's not a speedometer to me, it's like a power bar. How much power am I putting into the engine? If it goes all the way to the right, I'm wondering what's going on. I've got, that's a lot of power going to the engine. So that is something. You asked about expectations, but that is something that I did not expect.
Right.
So, but really, from an efficiency standpoint, we like the idea of not having to fill the car up with fuel.
Okay.
The cost for a kilowatt of energy is pennies compared to gas.
Right.
So.
Right. Does the city get any kind of break on the electricity you buy from OPPD or?
I don't think so.
Okay. So
I'm not sure. That's a good question. We may, since we're a volume user.
Right.
There's like peak demand, but since we're a corporate setting or office setting, I'm not sure if we're.
Right. So apart from yourself and the city inspector permits department, anyone else drive it? And I guess what I'm interested in, are you getting any kind of feedback from other members of the administration, the staff, or so on?
I believe the mayor has driven it.
Okay.
I think anytime someone goes to Omaha for meetings or conferences or something, they've been driving it. But I haven't heard any negative comments. Usually they'll call and say, I don't want to drive that anymore, or something like that. I've never had that yet.
Okay. And hopefully not, yeah. So how long do you plan on keeping them? Obviously, vehicles stay in a fleet for X number of years or X number of miles, and then they get, put up to auction or whatever happens.
Well, I believe the battery's warranted for, but there is the scale down, but it has a 10-year plan. The battery has a 10-year plan, and replacement of that has a cost per reduced over the year.
Right.
But we plan on keeping them as long as we can.
Okay. Cool. If you're talking to other city administrators who are thinking about this, what would you advise them?
Make sure they have a service dealer or someone who can service the vehicle near. If you're out in the middle of western Nebraska and there's not an authorized dealer to work on electric vehicles, it may get costly in transportation or bringing someone out. Also, prepare for the installation costs of a charging station if you get one.
Okay, that would run...
Well, it depends.
Okay.
It depends on where your power lines are and where you want the charging station to be.
Okay.
We have a temporary location for the charging station because we plan on moving city offices toward closer to Wall Street.
Oh, okay.
This building out here at 1410 Wall Street will eventually be City Hall.
Oh, okay.
And then charging station will be likely in the front of that,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
But we'll make that as part of the renovation cost.
Right.
The location we have now, it's open to the public. You can anyone who knows about ChargePoint charging stations knows they can call or they can reserve that online or through their app. And right now we don't have a charge for it. But we're relatively new into this, and we haven't established a fee for it, and that would have to go on our master fee schedule and be approved by the city council, and so on. So,
speaking of the city council, how were they?
They were very open, and they were. Since we have some sustainability initiatives in our strategic plan, this falls right into line with that, and it's great to keep local dollars in the community and be more efficient at the same time.
Right.
So we're not spending a lot of money on gas. Anything, the pennies we are spending to drive the Nissan LEAF goes to OPPD, who does a lot of great work for not only us but everyone else within their territory. So.
Okay, good. Well, Larry, thank you, and keep us apprised of
my pleasure, and I will.
How it goes, and look forward to seeing maybe more of the LEAF in various cities. So.
Well, we're driving them to find out if we can use more.
Okay, good. Thank you. I've had Larry Burke with me, who is the Assistant City Administrator for the City of Bellevue here in Nebraska.
Thank you.